Welcome back, guys. I just finished uploading a video. Yeah, just that's the second video in the last 5 days, so yeah, I'm on a roll at the moment. I wasn't going to work on this car today. I was a bit bummed this morning. Just didn't feel like doing much. Done the front end. That was the last part of the second video that was uploaded. But my brother's come over here and he wanted to see if he could borrow my valve spring compressors, but it turns out they're not suitable for his Cleveland. So he's building a Cleveland for his Falcon XB S-Pack wagon. So we had a good old chat, and he's looking over my car, and then I thought, you know what? Let's get back into it. So I've got about 3 hours to kill now, then I've got a doctor's appointment. Yeah, so I'll show you what I've just done then. My brother and I are looking over the car, and then I looked at this. That was hanging out further than that before. Where I recently adjusted it, it was still a little bit out. So if you push and pull on it, moving around, but the gap's really close now. A little bit open up there still, but not too fussed about it at this point in time. It is what it is. It's an old car. I was thinking when I put this bonnet lock mechanism in, the pin's going to go through here, and I might be able to just offset the bonnet a couple of mil to where it needs to be, maybe. I don't know. And, yeah, it's got a big gap at the back, but I think that's the norm for him. So yeah, see how that's different? That sucks. It's like it's faded. I don't know. Try buff it, I guess, but yeah, we'll have to see if they don't match up. You probably can't really tell. You can. I can tell. Either way, I think a lot of work to do. So what I'm thinking I might do now, I can't test the headlights yet. I haven't got globes for them, so I have to get on the internet and buy some H4 globes, LEDs. I bought a pair of really good ones for the Falcon, the B-Falcon wagon. Geez, they're good. Got them super cheap auto. And the other ones are shit. They only last like 3 months, and one of them died, so I didn't buy them again. So I'm thinking I might. Well, I can't test the headlights. I can't do much with the wiring in a way I can, but one of the first things I'm going to recheck. Well, I had them working before as the headlights and the blinkers. So order the globes, continue on there, but there's nowhere for the battery to go. So I've got what's left of the old battery tray support. This is what's left of it. This is original. Very sad way, but I can use that section. And I've got the new battery tray running somewhere. I've had it for a long time. That's another problem. I buy shit and I don't remember where I put it, but I have seen it laying around. It's sitting around here somewhere. My brother picked it up and goes, "Wow, that's all right." Let's see. Yeah, so I can do that now. I'll get the mini sandblaster. I'll blast that little section. Give it a coat of primer, coat of color, and yeah, see if I can go about putting that on. But it's not much to share in regards to that. Just sandblasting, painting. But at least I can put in there and I have somewhere the battery to go. Then I can continue on the wiring. Giving this section just a light sandblast. I'll leave it in rust converter solution in a bucket. But what I need to do now is to get these bolts out. So they're badly rusted. They're Imperial too. So I've got this damaged bolt and nut extractor kit. Daytona. So this is Sydney Tools job. So I'll try using these. Doesn't fit. It's 11. Oh, I don't know. See how we go. I like to film this, but I can't hold the camera at the same time. They're too far gone. It's all rusted up in here. I mean, there's ways to doing it, but I think I'm just better off get the grinder out and just take the tops off and unscrew them from behind. Easy enough. Grind the back off. Take that away. Now I can attempt just probably, I might put a slot in it and just use a flathead screwdriver and drive it out. That one's been a prick. It snapped off straight away. But this one here, easy. Let's drive it through. It's getting tight. Probably go the other way. Let's There's no pressure on it, so it should just be easy. I haven't even lubed these threads up either. But, mostly just rust, this thing. Paint's gone, it's just rust. Yeah, this one here, I'll have to get it from the other side. Thought I better run a tap for it. The kit here, metric and imperial. Just run that through it. Be a WD-40 NSC stuff, just to lubricate a little bit. Yeah, threads don't seem too bad. I think this one here might have been the one that copped it a bit. Beautiful. So these bolts here, they were at the bottom here, and I've got what's left, the locking thing that goes behind it, but yeah, it's pretty knackered. So I'll have to get on the internet. I reckon they'd be they'd be the same as the ones that I've got for this bonnet stop. I reckon that'd be beautiful. That'd fit perfectly. I'm sure if I get on the rare spares or Grand Tour or GT Shop, they'd have these. Or Kingswood Country is another one on the eBay store, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to put this battery thing in today, I don't think. Bugger. Oh, that's all right. I'll dunk this in some solution. This product I showed you last time, the last video. Rust converter. Stuff nasty. Very potent. So I put that with water in a bucket and I'll tie some wire to it and just, yeah, let it sit, and it should eat all the rust up, I reckon. I've got, if it doesn't, I probably won't even worry about that. Just leave it. And yeah, obviously this has copped a lot of acid or crap that's come out of the battery, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, they generally rust out. It actually comes out of the batteries, and just, I know I had severe rust, all pitted around here, and see it. Had a few patches in here and there, but yep. Righto. Solution there. I can check on it. See how it's coming along. Very diluted mix. So no, I'm not too fussed about how long it takes. Just check it every day, I guess. Different ways of doing this. Vinegar and water and some methods of doing it, but yeah, see how we go. I thought I'd have a go at this front bumper. I've got it hanging up on the wall over there. It's a bit of an eyesore. It's heavy, takes up a lot of room, but it's sitting over there. It's not in the road of anything, just sits there. So I thought I'd give the bumper a polish. I was probably dreaming. Had like overspray black paint on it, so I thought, oh yeah, might be able to bring this back, and apparently people have been able to do it, so I'll show you this. Here it is here. Got a black overspray on it, so I gave that area there a hit. I fucked up. I thought I'd use the paint stripping disc, and I'd done that, but either way, even after buffing it anyway, it's got scratches all over it. They've smashed in stuff, so it's a deep, it might have been underneath. There's a deep gouge in it. Someone's rammed it. You see all that? Yeah, they ain't gonna come back easily. So I was quoted, here's $870 to get this re-chromed. It's a lot of money. I might get on the internet, see. I don't think they're making them. Usually when new stuff pops up, people share it all over the groups. People love it. But the back in the bracket behind it obviously needs a good sandblast and repainting. Probably a bit big to, I'll spray it with rust converter on a cool day in the morning, get up early, get the rust all over it, give it a sandblast as well. But yeah, that bumper's gonna have to get re-chromed. Luckily there's places around my area. I've got the bumpers on the Escort, these little, this is what I used. Tried buffing it with that. The Escort, there's a place in Newcastle, Hamilton Chrome. I got them done, shit, it would have to been close to 30 years ago, and I put paint over them, but they're still Mickey Mouse. I did hear, but that Hamilton Chrome a few years ago had a bad batch. I'd go through, and well, the boys and their bikes, and one of the guys that works telling me, the boys and their motorbikes and that had a lot of stuff chromed, and it was all turning feral, so a lot of warranty work. But yeah, just the way it is. I think they took away a critical chemical I used to use in the chrome or something. But these have been great, and guy from work got his done, and his are good. So yeah, that front bumper's going to have to be redone. Unfortunately, I was able to buy a brand new back bumper, although the original back bumper I had for this car had rust holes in it. Looks good on camera, but when you look up close, it's got a handful of scratches all through it. It's understandable. It's like 50 years old. Right, I don't know what to do next. I'll have to have a doctor's appointment soon, so I'll have to pull it up. Back in the shed. It's been about 6 days, just on my block of shifts. On my last night shift, I was having a break during the night, and then I got a message from my neighbour saying that there's shit going down. Thieving grubs. Pulled up in a four-wheel drive, got out of the car, raced up and stole a bloody statue of a bloody catalogue in front of his house. Got it all on camera. Don't know who they are, but... So I was going to work an overtime shift the following night. I decided to come straight home and just putting more cameras in. So, yeah, just lost a day I could have spent in the shed, but got to think security first before you can do anything else. So I had problems with I got a Swan CCTV system in 4K resolution, and getting the system to communicate with the Samsung QLED 4K TV. There's a breakdown in communication, so I was on a tech support and Swan technician, some bloke in America, hear a bloody rooster going in the background. It's unreal. And then turns out that maybe the Samsung TV, so I got a hold of Samsung tech support, on the phone with them for like an hour. Then they've referred me to some other tech support. They're going to call me today, and might be a warranty job on the TV yet. Just can't communicate with a Swan properly in high resolution. I still get resolution videos, but yeah, I wasted a day yesterday doing that crap. So appointments and shit. But now I'm back in the shed. So I've got more parts that come through the mail. I've got the supports. They go on the top of the grill here, so that apron support. Got that. I've got. I think a couple other things to turn up. Can't think what they are at the moment. It's really hard to put solid time into this car. There's always other shit going on, but a lot of people got it worse than me. So I've got the tail lights. I could easily start on them. And I'll put what I was showing you last time, this bracket that supports the battery tray. That's been here for for a while. Rust is completely gone. It's just like a bare metal finish now, and what's left, a tiny bit of paint there, which I'll leave. Just needs a really good clean now, and use chemical on it, get it really clean, edge prime it, and then I'll paint that in that battery tray, wherever that is. But something else I'll show you is too, my brother's currently building a 302 Cleveland. That's a pretty good motor as it is, but he's giving it a freshen up. But I had him over here, and we're measuring up the journal. So this 351 crank, and something weird about it I'll show you. I'll show you what I've got here. So I've got this crankshaft, picked it up for $100. Just a 351 crank, nothing special about it. I think it may have come, or the engine I think come out of a 79 Fairlane, I think. Because my brother got the block, it turned out to be shit. Just the boards were all bloody just chewed out. I don't think I have to be re-sleeved, but so I got this crank on the cheap. So my brother was over here, we measured the crank, I measured the big end journal. So I come up 53 millimeters, and then you look at the tolerances. Crank pin bore, so you got between 61.8 to 61.89, so that's not even close. So then you think, oh, maybe it comes out of a Windsor 350 on Windsor, but then even them journals, these journals still too small. So I reckon there's some sort of mod where the machine heaps off and they've used a conrod off like another engine. So I don't know. I reckon if I took this crank to the engine builder, he'd know. But when I measured, I started cleaning them up, they're actually pretty good. The journals aren't too bad. Like, I really got to do all of them and look, but I don't know what I'm going to. Hopefully, someone can explain it in the comment section, because I haven't had much to do with these Cleveland V8s. I'm learning. I've built like the Jeep. I've built 2 Jeep engines, 4.7 litre PowerTech V8s, and I've built heaps of 4 cylinders. Mostly, I don't have much to do overhead valve. I'm mainly just overhead cams. That's all those bizzo. But I know the most complicated motor I've worked on was the Jeep's 4.7. It's like twin overhead cam, single overhead cam, timing chain. There's a lot going on, but it's all good. So I've got 2 Cleveland engines. I've got the original engine that comes out of this coupe. It's just a 302 2V heads, virgin bore, matching engine number. So I'm not going to put that back in the car. I'm going to save that, put that aside, leave it. And then I've got this other block. It's on a skip. I think it comes out like an F truck. Got it off a mate from work during COVID. Managed to get it off him and on the cheap. So it's out of the machine shop. It's 30 foul over. It looks really nice. A little bit of surface rust here and there, but I'll end up taking that to the machine shop. It'll probably needs an acid bath, and he'll measure the bores. Looked alright to me, but his opinion's what really matters. So yeah, I've got that. I was hoping to use this crank, but I've yet to find out what the hell's going on with that. It's probably worked out better just to buy an Eagle crank. And then even the Eagle cranks, you get them and you think, oh yeah, they're good to go, and that you have to get them balanced, and most of the time they're probably out of China, who knows. Then I've got, so I want to do the 351 crank, 302 rods, and then I'll get the pistons to suit those rods so I can make it into 351. And then over here I've got 2V, I'd like to get them out sheets, but I've got 2V heads. They got the 4V valves, all the port work's done. Everything's done, so I can run roller rockers, anything, whatever I want to do. But it should be a good, lot of efficient 351. Let's have good drivability. I'm not sure whether to run a carburetor. Edelbrock manifold, obviously, is the combo they reckon, but I don't know whether to run a carburetor or just go EFI. I'm all about running EFI. I love doing that shit. I love the electronics and stuff, but it'd be really nice to do that. That way I'll get better fuel economy. So the way fuel prices are now, going for a 100-kilometer drive on a weekend can get pretty expensive. Especially I want to drive this car. I want to go everywhere in it. But I'll see what happens when the time comes. But my brother's currently building a 302. He's just going to run carburetor, and I'm going to see how he goes with that and just see how that goes. But I've already got the C4 transmission. That's rebuilt on the bench. That's good to go. I've got the Borg Warner diff. I've already got the True Track center. It's like a locker. It's basically just an eBay copy, China copy, but I've got one in the Escort, and this whole lot 500 horsepower good. But there's a lot of planning and preparing of this car, because you can't leave it too late, because I know machine shops, they're really busy, so something I've got to think about. So what I'll do now, I'll do this. I'll start doing this battery support, and I think I had a problem where these end pieces here, they're slightly different shade. So I'm thinking I was going to get primer. It's lighter, because the last time I used the primer, it was this stuff here. The final was universal prime grey. It's like a really light grey. I thought maybe because it's a light grey, it might have affected the shade, as they do with a lot of colours. But I'm thinking I'll do the battery tray, because that's not so critical, because it's deep in the engine bay. But this time I'll stir the paint tin a little bit more. I was thinking I possibly mightn't have stirred it properly, and it's got sediment and crap in the bottom, and it's affected the shade. So yeah, had this heater going for a while, so I'll get the heat up in here. It's a bit cold at the moment, but I can start preparing. I'm just about to finish this video off. Then I thought, no, I'm doing the editing, and I thought, hang on. So just measured the journals, as I did, 53 millimeters, and I thought, hang on, why didn't I look up the bearing? I think me and my brother did look it up on the internet. Looked up ACL, so it's got, if I turn the camera around, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this, see if I can. So you got ACL standard 7110 200,000. So I buffed this up, got it looking really clean. So I tried looking on the ACL website, looking through all the different engines, Ford engines, Holden engines, and I couldn't find anything with that part number. And I thought, someone's done something to this. This is wild. So I rang up ACL. They were really good. Spoke to someone who really knows their stuff. This bearing is a custom bearing. They've used Chevrolet conrods, and they've actually, these bearings a little bit narrower. They're not as wide as a Chev. So the, whatever you call it, the conrod, the main big end of it, it goes on the crank, has been narrowed a bit to fit these custom retro, we call them, bearings. So they've run Chevy rods. So it would have been old school stroker style. So interesting. I'd love to know what conrods they're using. I reckon if I went to me engine builder, which is in near my area, Lee Mears, he builds a lot of Holden motors. I reckon he could work out what rod they were. But the journals look pretty good. Like, yeah, so interesting. Old school ways of stroking a Cleveland. So yeah, you can still get these bearings. So I'll get to talk to the engine builder and see what he reckons. But it might just be worth my while just getting it up crank. I mean, ideally, like, you can spend a bit of time on this, so you have to get it right. So I really need someone who knows what they're doing, who knows these engines. So yeah, just got this bracket that supports the battery tray out of the acid bath. Give it a really good clean now and gave it some heat. Get any moisture on it. So that's ready to go. Give that a coat of etch primer. Battery tray, give them that a good scuff with a sanding sponge. So get rid of the gloss. Create a surface good for primer. Use that. So this will mount up, obviously, where it's meant to go. Then I've got a nutsert tool, but I haven't got nutserts. They're metric anyway. But I'm thinking I might use these bonnet threads here that lock into the inner guard. Put that on there. That way I can mount that up. But before I do anything, I have to prime, colour, then clear. Priming. So I got the two of the original bolts that with the battery tray support, and then I've got two other ones that were for the bonnet. Oh, sorry, the guards. I actually found a bag of bolts I didn't know I had. I didn't know where they went. They're for the guards. So yes, two of them, exactly the same. So just go on the wire wheel, the bench grinder, clean them right up back to bare metal. Adhesion promoter, etch primer, followed by primer. So I've got two different types of primer. I've got this super cheap stuff. So there's a primer filler. It's like a slightly darker grey. And then I've got this stuff here, which I didn't use last time. So it's just an ordinary primer surfacer, but that's like a light grey, where this one's slightly darker. So that may have contributed to a slight colour difference, shade. So what I've done, I thought I'd just give this thing a good stir, and I was hoping that I'd pick this up and look at it and there'd be stuff on the bottom, sediment, but there's not. It's just normal. So I did mix it properly last time I done. I was hoping that there'd be something simple. So if I paint this, I paint these sections and they got the same problem. There's end pieces on the front guards. Well, I'm going to have problems because I need to paint this area here. I have to paint that again because it's, see it there, slightly, it's like lighter. I don't know why that's happened. I originally got a place to mix up burnt orange, and then I went to Super Cheap and I took a chance because people reckon they don't mix paints properly. I had the store manager mix me up the burnt orange, exactly the same spec as the original paint I'd mixed, and even had spray packs mixed, and you could not tell the difference. Like exactly the same. So I don't understand what's going on here, because that paint there, I've used that to paint a lot of this car and it's never had any issues. So hopefully, this is a very light grey, hopefully it's got to give that another coat, but hopefully it's all right. See what happens. Just setting up. It's been a really good gun, this DeVilbus. It's an older one now. They discontinued these, but got 3 different types of fluid tips. So you can do like priming, and then you can do your ordinary paints and stuff. But I forgot to put this in there last time. Takes some moisture out of there, or helps anyway. It's got like a material in it, like toilet roll. I know the big ones have got like toilet roll in them, but it takes the moisture out, so you need to get humidity blisters. It's got this water air separator, but I haven't got one of these for Fred that goes into there. That way I could rig it up to work with the air compressor. I've had this on there in the past, so I like to mount that up, say up around there somewhere, anywhere really, and just check that, empty the water out of it. But yeah, really good. But I'm only doing a very small job, so I've got the coupe up in the air. Got these ready down here. If I was doing a major job in here, I'd make curtains across everywhere and just keep the paint off everything, because the overspray is shit. But this is only a very small job, so in between coats I can open the door up, get air in here. Yeah, let's get a bit of heat. I've got them ready. So I've already got burnt orange mix now. I know that paint, it didn't have sediment at the bottom. Using stuff I've already got. Yeah, a bit paranoid about it not being the right shade, but we'll see what happens. This doesn't matter, it's in the engine bay, but as an indication whether that paint's good or not. Waiting on this acrylic paint to go off, so I thought I'd take the opportunity while the car's up on the hoist to talk to you about diffs. So these early Falcons, right up and I think the XFs maybe, XEs, I'm not sure, but they got the really early Borg Warner diff. So they're a Salisbury diff, as they call it, and you've got a cover on the back to access inside it, which isn't ideal for when they've got a diff line and you want to repair it. There's a lot more work involved. So these early 75 series diffs were not sought after. Everyone wanted to go for the Ford 9-inch, obviously, because they're a lot stronger, and they're a banjo, so you could easily just, with the 9-inch, if you had a diff line, I had problems, you could just pop the center out, put another center in, easy. So I've got one of these in the Escort, or the 75 series. This is the 78, but I've got a 75 in the Escort. It's freaking brilliant, but I've made it to be good. So the one in the Escort comes out of an XF panel van. Might have been XE panel van. It's a long time ago. But I had it cut down. They re-spined the axles. Being 25 spine axles are fragile. So the original diff out of this car had a 2-pinion on the I think called sun gears. So it was weak link, 25 spline axles, another weak link. Had the old drum brakes, which are fine, but yeah. So a lot of people didn't want anything to do with those diffs. They figured they were shit and they just took them out and dumped them. But they're perfectly capable of doing what you want them to do. But in order for me to get the original diff in this car to be super strong, I'd have to either use the axles out of this EL Falcon wagon diff, use those axles, probably have to knock the tops of the axles so they don't butt up together, because this is like 10 mil wider track either side. So I'd probably have to do that, hoping that they're the same in here, because I think there's a slight difference, I'm not sure. But yeah, so upgrade the axles to 28 spline, and then I'd have to run. This is a Eaton True Track copy, a China copy. Center, so it's limited slip. So I've got one of them in the Escort. It's freaking brilliant. It's been holding up to 500 horsepower for 5 years now. Well, not about 5 years, probably 3 or 4 now, but that sort of power range. But the problem you have when you put this in the 75 series, this here scuffs on the pinion gear. So I think that they may have addressed it on this one. It's got a bit of a bevel on it. So, because yeah, to use the original, this had the 292:1 ratio. To use that gears in this, I'd have to use like a spacer to actually bring it to the right gap. So So you'd have to space it out to marry up with the crown wheel. But yeah, so the reason I didn't use that diff is because, yeah, I'd have to get, well, the Escort anyway, I had to get, there's a place in Victoria, McDonald Brothers Racing, and I got billet axles, and they're machined to suit the Escort, and they put and changed it to the 4 stud pattern. But yeah, I could easily have got the axles. They were about $900 a pair. Not a problem, but it's just so much cheaper and easier just to go to my local wrecking yard, pick up this, $200, comes with the disc brakes, which are all interchangeable. They got like a mini drum brake inside of these with the handbrake. They're interchangeable with the BAs and FGs, as far as I know, and I can't tell the difference, to be honest. So I'd have to take the wheel off, but so yeah, you got disc brakes on it, which are win. You've got the 28 spline axles, which are great. Then you can pick up these centers dirt cheap, but the only downside is where the I forget what it's called, the seat in here. There's a rubber bush that goes to the saddle in here. They got like a rubber bush that goes through. These are slightly bigger than the earlier 75 series diffs, so but it's not a problem once you get it on center and tighten it right up, or maybe you put an adapter bush in it. I don't know. There's that problem, and yeah, being 10mm over track either side, which isn't a big issue. If you're running massive tyres, like I'm going to be running 295 15-inch wheels on this. If I was to go a 325, then I might run into issues with clearance. But I'll wait and see how I go, but I don't really want to cut it. I could easily cut it down and just shorten a little bit if I wanted to, but that's just work. Unnecessary work if you're not worried about running massive tyres. But the ratio here, you see it here, 3 to 1, so it's reasonably good. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what ratio I'm going to go. I'll probably just wouldn't mind going to 292 to 1 again, just to have the speedo right. But who can rely on a speedo now with the amount of speed cameras and shit they got out? But also for speedo correction, you've got these. These go on the end of your speedo cable. They go into your C4 transmission. So different colours for different gear ratios. So I've mucked around with these in the past with the Escort, trying to get the ratio better for the speedo, but it just couldn't be corrected. Little 13-inch, tiny little pissy little wheels. Can't see them. Door trims in the road, but I couldn't correct it on this car, so I just used my mobile phone. Speed on that is accurate. Probably end up doing the same thing with this car, but I have to get. I can just take this flange off and put the earlier one on and just use. I've got 2 different tail shafts. The one out of actually the one I've got, I think it's out of a Fairlane. Don't know if it's interchangeable, but I've got the original EL Falcon tail shaft, so I could easily just get that. And there's a place in Newcastle called Gibson's drive shaft, so they make really good drive shafts. So I could just use the drive shaft I've got and use the flange off that, and then they could custom make one. So the input shaft that goes in the back of the transmission, the C4 BDR transmissions, they use the identical input shaft. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I did with the Escort. I've got a BDR Falcon 4-speed BDR transmission, and I've got the input shaft, and yeah, go straight in back of the C4, no problems. So that's the GO with the. But yeah, really really good choice. But the problem you have, these are 14-inch original old aftermarket 14-inch 12 sliders. So they're being steel, thinner material, and look at that, they're pretty much scuffing. So if you run an alloy 14-inch wheels, you're gonna have problems. Now I don't know if you can run the drums. Honestly, I'm all for using the original diff, to be honest, but it just seemed like just an easy option. I was actually looking at getting the axles for wrecking yard and just getting the axles out of one of these diffs and put it in my older diff and just go from there. But I'm not 100% sure if the distances from the axle flange in here are the same, because if you're going to run the drums, I don't know how far I can go, but it's just easy enough to put this in there. It's like $200, this particular wrecking yard. But these are starting to get hard to find now. A lot of the cars are just getting scrapped. I've also got a pair of these 2003 and 2004 Ford Focus Z-Tech motors. Pretty much, they're everything, all the accessories, all the gear on there. A pair, dirt cheap. So backup motors for the Escort. So yeah, righto, I'll have to start getting the clear ready now. Before I move on, there's something I forgot to tell you. Some people might actually listen to what I'm saying and do what I'm doing, but you got to be, another thing I've got to tell you about when it comes to these Crown and Pinion and these, try to use the originals. There's actually 2 different diff builders in Newcastle, and one of them I mentioned that I was going to get. Well, the Escort, the original gears, I screwed up. I tried shimming myself. I thought I had it right. I've had it right in the past. The second time I've done it, I fucked it, destroyed the gears, so I had to get new gears. So I was talking to this diff builder. I said, look, I'm going to get these Crown and Pinion off eBay. And it said in the listing, you may get a little bit of diff fine. He said he refused. He will not build the diff for me with those China gears. You have to be originals. I think there are manufacturers, I can't think of the name, Harding Spice, so they make them, but yeah, I run the China gears. I get a bit of diff wine, but it's nothing I'm too fussed about, especially with that car. Who cares? It's semi-like race car anyway. So, so in saying that, the 292 gears, factory, perfectly good to use. The 3:2, 3:1 ratio gears, perfectly fine to use. Another thing I forgot to mention is the 25 spine axles the early 75 series diffs had. It's difficult to find a limited slip center. I think the VL Commodores had the same axles, 25 spline. They had you can get an LSD center. They tighten the shims up in them or something. They do something to them. I forget what they do, but they tighten them up so you can use them. But trying to find one of those centers at the right price, or even finding one, I just gave up. I couldn't find, because the 25 spine axles, I reckon they'd be fine in this application, but if I'm going to start getting a bit more power, then yeah, you're going to run the risk of twisting them. Did in the Escort anyway. They'll re-spline 25 spine. I was starting to twist the spine at the ends on full slicks, dumping it at buddy 5,000 RPM, had about 230 horsepower at the wheels. But yeah, so that's something I just thought I'd mention to you before anyone goes out and does the same thing. I'll put a link in the description about the Street Machine had an article about the diffs, the Borg wonders, and how they're going on about it. But now that it's getting pretty warm in here, I've had that gas heater going, so these have had a good hour. Plus using the hairdryer just to get the temperatures up, and yeah, so they've gone off. So I've got 2 different clears to choose from. Got this cheaper stuff here, and I've got this more expensive high production clear, really good product. Both of them have really good pop when they're in the paint, really nice gloss and deep shine. So yeah, give these a quick hit. Now that the temperature's up in here, it should be a real easy job. The hardest part's not mixing up too much clear. It's so easy to make up too much. Just waiting for the paint to go off now. I've got the Falcon wagon's due for rego. I haven't got a pig slip on it, but I need to get the car up. It's got a few oil leaks, just to give it a degrease, just in case they pick up on it. All these old cars leak. It's bloody how bad they are, it matters. Let's look at this tyre. Myers Motors. Bund, I can just read that. Very old tyre, this one. This might have been one of the originals. May not have been off this car. Yeah, so I've just these sitting up here. I could get the heater going, and I've just gone through one bottle in about 2 weeks, so not using it, I don't have to, but I've got the other one out here baking in the sun. I want it to dry because I want to compare it to the car. Baking in the sun does wonders. Surface temperature will probably up around 30 degrees or something, but yeah. What to do now, just to this car anyway. I suppose I could wait for these to go off this afternoon, then I'll install them in the car, then put a battery in it and continue on with the wiring. Get back into it. I just booked the B-Falcon to me usual mechanic I go to. He knows the car is good. Apparently they can't do pink slips until August. I'm like, oh shit, that means I have to go to someone who I don't usually go to. So I'm gonna have to specially make sure that the Falcon's good. Being LPG too, not everybody can do them, I think. I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna have to get onto that shortly, but what I'll do now, these appear to be dry, so I'll get the car down the hoist, get it down low, and I'll just put this battery tray back in. Just look at how this goes in. This section here, it's got holes down there, CMT line up, so I'll have to get those things I was talking about before, stick them on there. I think that might, see how it looks. Oh, it's easy, they go on the inner guard. Oh, got the car on the hoist, it's hard to get to them, but go right down. Right there, got a little slot there, so go from the in a tyre well in there, easily clip them in, so now I can put it in properly. Goes in nicely. I didn't tighten it right up, so what about be able to manipulate it need be. But yeah, I forgot it's got 2 bolts going here and I didn't paint them. I'll have to leave it till later unless I put these. I'm going to paint them so you can see them. When you get the bonnet down you can see the edges of these. I don't like it, so at this stage I want to paint them. I'll change your mind overnight as usual, but yeah, right, try this tray out. I didn't realise I thought it was around the other way. I didn't paint in here very well and I'm like, oh shit, that's going to stand out. No, it's not. You can see like a little bit like it's not as painted as good, but the holes line up. So this is from Rare Spares. So yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to bolt in now. I think there'd probably be something that goes over that. I don't even know. There'd probably be some sort of rubber mat or something. Yeah, well, it's got a section where water can drain out. I've picked the perfect day for spray painting. It's like 24 degrees in here at the moment. It's looking pretty good. So it's in. Look at how much brighter that is. It's a bit dirty. Yeah, fresh paint. So I had to run a tap. Had to run this tap through this hole here. It was yeah, must have had something in the hole and it was very tight. It would definitely have stripped it if I pushed on. So taps come in handy. So now that tray's in, it's all tightened up, it's sweet. Pity about these bolts, but I can worry about them later. Just surprising how small it is. I don't know how many batteries going to go. I got a battery in the FG Falcon. I was putting up with that battery, but I'm not going to push me luck, put that on top of that. I know that's fresh paint, it could easily, it hasn't properly hardened. So, yeah, I'll show you some of the goodies I've got. So, I just ordered cheap H4 globes. I didn't worry about getting really expensive ones, but these ones here are like, you know, about $15 the 4 of them, but they're dirt cheap. But that'll be good. Just test. Never touch the globe with these things. Touch the globe, and apparently it does something to them. And shortens their lifespan. So, don't worry about them, but I've got these for you. Look at these, very nice. So these, never had these on before. They must go in here. They go in there. That, go up here, so. You see it's going to pull up. There's a bit of a gap there, so it's going to pull up. But yeah, got them ready. They can go on. Cool. Relieve some of the stress that's already on the, what happened these other areas where that bolts are holding the grill on. Screws, I should say. So, show you what I'm going to do next. Shows this little thing I painted to compare it to the paint I was talking about before, the priming, using a lighter primer. So, here it is here. So compare it to there. It's obviously corrected a lot. To compare it, it seems like as the paint gets older, it sort of fades a little bit. Interesting. A bit of dust on the car too. It probably doesn't help me cause. Yeah, it's pretty right. It's just because it's fresh, I guess. I'm not a spray painter. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an electrician. I'm just one of those people that has a go at doing it, and it's never going to be as good as a tradesman's job. But yeah, that's all right. Close enough. Okay, now I'm getting on to the exciting stuff. Wiring. I love this shit. This stuff is what I really enjoy. It's just feeling, using your head, working stuff out. So what I've been doing, I've got this. I've got a digital workshop manual or Ford manual. But when I'm at work, I can't be in a machine, operate a machine, have a laptop studying stuff. So paper, I need to get myself a Ford manual. It's another thing on the list, but I don't really want to get taken to work and bumping it and moving around heaps because they do wear out quickly. But over time, being so old, but got this manual, SP manual. One thing I do like about these, people mightn't like it too much, but I like how they bunch everything up. So you look at that and you think, what the hell, you're following this to here to there and all that. But the beauty of it is you can focus, it's all in one, so you can focus on one spot, go, right, so what I've been doing, I'm obviously going to be starting with the back of the car. So I've got the tail lights, side lights, earth, number plate light. I've got it all identified, and the fuel sender is around here somewhere. But yeah, it goes all the way at the back here. So I've got all the colours. I've broken it down. I've worked it out. So it's just a matter of now of going to the car itself and then looking at the wiring. And I don't reckon I'm going to struggle. It just makes it. I've got time to do it at work, and I can start breaking all the wiring down and know what's what. It's just going to make it a lot quicker and easier to identify what's what, rather than going back through each wire and then looking at the manual. So that's something I could do. Got the tail light new sockets to put in too. I haven't got the tail light globes. I have read where people say make sure that for the brake light and the blinker use a colour globe, because these come out looking like pink. They're not a really dark red, so I'll put a red globe in it to make it more red, same as that orange for the blinker and the reverse. Yeah, so been doing that at work. I was going to do the front, but this particular diagram doesn't show the driving lights. They're factory on this car, but I know, just realised just now, I was looking back for the manual, I've got an XA Falcon GT and GS. I've got XA Falcon GT and GS. I'm like, yeah, right. So I could look at that for the front, but the front, I had the front working. Had the fronts working, the headlights, not these lights, but another one. But I've had the headlights working. I've had the blinkers working. So I know I'm on the run there, but I haven't got driving lights. I don't know if I've even got the wiring for the driving lights, but I've just noticed Grand Tourer, well, a few other places too, they make the loom for the driving lights for only $30. So I might as well just buy that. It saves me making it myself, save me time. Yeah, so I've got that. I can go ahead with that whenever I want. So next problem I have is this fuse box. So I'll look at that. Apart from that point there, it looks pretty shit, but I'm looking over it. I've already cleaned these terminals up. This one here, I don't know what you call that, but reading on the forums, people have problems with the headlights. So that's the headlight supply. So people are having problems with these. You're just losing their lights, everything. Well, these are old posts from back in the Ford forums. Like, I used to love that, getting on them. I have to get back on them. Ford forums, freaking awesome. But yeah, so that will need cleaning up, or I don't know if I can even replace them. I don't know why they haven't got reproductions of these. That sucks. They've got these ones on eBay, which I'll show you soon. So I've got this one. I bought this. I've done a lot of research in the past to find something that I could use in its place. I was going to use that, but it's a little bit too big for my liking. I'd really prefer to use the factory one. If you've got anything that's going to have a heap of load on it, well, one of these aren't really clean. They're obviously not as good as like the blade style that you have these days, but if they're really clean and they haven't got too much load on them, that's the thing. You're trying to pull amps out of these and they're putting load on them, they could have problems. But if you can avoid it, if you've got, like for example, I think these are problematic, rather than have that, you can have that if you like, but have a relay with a fuse instead. Set it up on a relay, so all the load of the headlights is on the relay, not on that. That can still bridge power. Set it up so I can bridge power, but don't have that as a breaking point where the fuse goes. Is that there? I don't know. You can. I've seen these. You get them on the internet refurbished for like $200. It's like, yeah, that'll be alright. But then I'm looking at this. I could probably just replace sections if I want. Tabs possibly could be broken, but yeah, I'd really like to use the factory ones. And if I did go AFI, Holy Sniper, Hultec, whatever, they're going to run off their own. The ignition's going to send power to a relay to power up the computer for the engine. That's it. there'd be no load on this hardly. So looking at that, and then another thing you got to take into account if I tried using that, it's got, you see them here, see how they're bridged? They're bridged. So when I turn the ignition on in the car, it sends power, bridges all these together, and then they send power out right through the car, different areas. So, so each side tail, like the back's got its own fuse, so you can really narrow it down to whatever the problem area is, short out or whatever. So yeah, if I was to use this, I'd have to bridge them to be like this. So if that was a bit shorter, I mean, it's good for having extra stuff on there if you wanted to, radio or whatever, but if that was a little bit shorter, it'd be a good thing to use that. But yeah. Yeah. Better have the factory one, but this will have to do. So I'll show you these ones I found on eBay. They're like a reproduction of these, but they're modernised. So you can see this fuse box here. Obviously someone's gotten a lot of trouble to make it possible to have, to be able to run a fuse box, again, like a newer style one. So the price is very good too. You got to bear in mind too, when someone goes into making these, this might be the fuse box they can use in other things, I guess, but someone's got a lot of trouble to make sure this works for the Falcon. So yeah, these ones go with XPs right through the XCs and mini mokes. There you go, a lot of them. UK car. So there it is there. They've marked out everything. Even got the headlamp ones in the right spot. That's a good thing. And one thing I really do like about it, look at there. Hardcore wiring, so you'd have to take into account of wiring them up. Yep, so be it. See how they've bridged it? Like I was saying before, they've bridged it like it's meant to. They made note of that, kids see it, because that's one thing that needs to happen to make it easier to install. There it is again. Yeah, that's really good, that. It's tempting actually. I like factory. I like to keep things as they are, but obviously like the engine, using like, you know, upgrading electronic stuff, same as this, you upgrade it for reliability. But I don't know, I just like, the Escort's still got the same style fuse box, uses the same style fuses. I did have problems with it, but once you clean it up and you get everything really good, I've never had any problems with it. Well, the only problem I have is I've got these reproduction taillights, and one of the taillights that's just loses its bad contacts in, I don't know, but so I've managed to make it work all right in the Escort. But yeah, I suppose I could just pick up a second-hand fuse box and see what I can make of that. But then I've still got that problem. I'd have to address that problem, the headlight. I don't know. I'll have to think about it some more. I might just wrap this video up, actually. It's probably dragging on. I'll talk a little bit too much in this video about technical stuff. That's just how I roll. I'm always racking my brain trying to get ideas and how to make improvements, but it's an absolute challenge for me not to put another modern engine in this car. Like, I'd love to put a Ford Modular 5.4, even a Coyote. I'd love to do that, but this car is meant to have a Cleveland in it. For me, having a Cleveland, the sound, everything about it, it's a freaking awesome engine. Mightn't be as reliable and efficient as a newer V8, but they've got a really nice sound. They're a good thing. They're a good engine for this car, so I'm going to keep it that way. So I think my next video I'll get onto the, I'll probably start with the back wiring. I'll put this fuse box back in. I'll get it working again. And then I'll continue with the wiring. The wiring's actually one of the cheaper things to do on this car. You got the connections, got cleaning. It's just time. It's good. I like it. I enjoy it. So I might just go ahead and order that fuse box. Just looking at this one, and you don't really want to take shortcuts when it comes to fuse boxes and stuff. Like, I could be going on a big drive out west somewhere on a dark road late in the day, and all of a sudden I'll lose something that's really important. And I'm sitting there roadside, might have people in the car, whatever. It sucks. I've been there. Had old cars most of my life. So I'll put my Instagram link in the description. I'll put a lot of photos up, and I figure some people might want to see that. But also I'll put a link in about those Borg diffs if anyone wants to upgrade their existing Borg diff in their Falcon or whatever. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll put another video up soon.